Michael, we'll start off by kind of talking about the fact that it's not really been a week off, has it? It's still been a Tuesday to Tuesday, so you've been able to keep the cogs turning, I suppose.
Yeah, for sure. Obviously no Saturday game, which is a bit different for the lads, but we were in Saturday in the morning, training, and we've been training as normal. The schedule's been normal for the lads, so we've still been working, getting prepared for Barnsley, which is another big game at home. But you're right, it's just more like a Saturday to Saturday rather than a week off, if you like.
We spoke to you a couple of weeks ago about the players that are in on loan. How about the players out on loan? You keeping track of them and assessing them in obviously the January period coming up?
Yeah, watching all of them, watching Zayn, MJ, Oshin obviously at the weekend had a really good win against Morecambe, 3-0, played well, played at centre half, we had people go and watch. So, we keep tracking them all the time, keep seeing how they're progressing, which is great. But yeah, like all the loan players, you want to see what they can do and hopefully they keep playing.
No back-to-back league wins since September, but that's not really affected you, has it, in the league, given how tight it is?
Of course, we want to put back-to-back wins together, so it affects you, as you keep going, but it's not. We've been steady away trying to get 3 points like every game. But yeah, no, I didn't know that stat, but it's something that we'd want to improve on for sure, and hopefully we can get a back-to-back win at home on tomorrow night.
It is remarkable. We often mention it in these press conference chats, don't we? A bit about how insane League One is this year. Obviously, given a couple of games at the weekend, it has slightly stretched out at the front, but it is so tight this year, and it kind of lends itself to this idea that anything could happen.
I think when you look across all the leagues, if you look at the Championship, it looks tight. Obviously, Coventry are running away with it, but I think that's the nature of football. And I think that's the nature of coming into this December and January, where all of a sudden games come thick and fast. You can start to see gaps appear, but up until now, like you say, in League One, you can't call who's going to win the games. You come off the pitch at 4:45, and whether you've done well or not so well, and you expect teams to win and expect teams to get beat, and it doesn't happen. So, and again, you look at some of the results in the FA Cup over the weekend. So it's just hard. The hardest part of football is winning football matches, because that's two teams going against each other trying to get the same thing. And I think sometimes we forget that's the hardest bit. Scoring goals and winning football matches has always been the hardest thing about the game. But yeah, we just need to concentrate on ourselves, keep trying to pick up points wherever we can. And like I said, over this period, it's going to be really important for us with the next 7 games at least. Speaking
to Adam Reach, we were talking about how good teams are built from the back going forward, don't we? And we were talking about the experience at the back. He laughed that it was the oldest defence in the league, but that's not a bad thing, is it? It's very experienced and it's proved very useful this year. Yeah, I think they bring a lot of experience. That whole back line for us has been loads of experience of winning football matches, know how to win football matches. But the goodest thing, they're robust. When you look at Tendai and Ricci and even Sonny, they can go game after game after game at this level, and sometimes that goes unmissed about experienced players, that you can have some young players come in and they can't go Saturday to Saturday because they're not robust yet. So these older players, whether you call them experienced or older, whatever you want to call it, is twofold. They give you experience, but they can also go game after game and manage themselves throughout League One competition, which is really tough. And that does feel like the big change from last year. Obviously, we all know about the winter slump, and we can hopefully avoid that this year. But that seems like the big thing, that experience and that ability to almost guide the players through the next couple of months and like say, into January, and then assess the situation.
Yeah, I think sometimes those things can become a self-fulfilling prophecy, can't they, with people expecting things to happen. I'm not so sure. So every season for me since I've been here has been different. It's felt different. The runs have been different. The ups and downs have been different. But there's one thing for sure. Like in this winter period, it gets tough. It gets tough with knocks. It gets tough with you start having people with yellow cards and sending offs and more injuries. So that's why it hits. It always hits in December and January. And obviously because of the amount of games that come. I think we've got 3 or 4 games in the space of a week through the Christmas period. So it's just it's a tough, grueling league. League One is tough, but we just have to. It's an old cliche, but it's right. We just have to take every game as it comes and try and get the 3 points on the day.
I'm sure we'll talk more about January in the weeks to come, but obviously we're into that festive period. Is there anything on your wish list at the moment?
3 points in the next game. That's always the same. 3 points is the most important thing. If we can get the 3 points and keep moving in the right direction, that's the most important thing.
Let's talk about Barnsley then. What do you make of their start to the season?
I think they had a good start, a bit of a dip, and they seem to be coming back. And they're a good footballing team. We obviously played them in the Virtue Trophy a few weeks ago. I think it'll be stylistic, very similar, but it will be very different in terms of atmosphere. I think those games is everyone to see. When you go to Barnsley, there's 1,200 watching compared to the big stadium, and same our side when we play Virtue Trophies, the atmosphere is not quite the same as playing a league game. So I think there's more at stake in some regards, and that's not to undo the cup competitions, but I think it's going to be a really tough game. They've got some good talent. One or two might be missing for them, but the reality is they've got a good squad and some good talents, and they can score goals. And you can see that by some of their results. They can score. They can have big scoring games. They like to dominate the ball, so that'll be interesting for us. And yeah, we've just got to again look after ourselves and make sure that we're on our game.
A bit about their manager, Connor, when obviously a person's, it's his first job, isn't it, obviously after coming out of playing. What's that like, that making that transition? Obviously it's not something you've done, but I imagine it's a similar process, isn't it? It can be quite difficult.
I think he's done a great job since he's moved into a coaching role. He's done that, a couple of years as an assistant and player assistant. I think he's done a good job with the club. It can't be easy for anybody to go from one hat to the other, but in the other sense brings a lot of experience with him. I think he's got them playing some good stuff, and it's really interesting to see how he keeps developing it. It's great to see young coaches coming into it, and I'm sure he's finding it harder than it looks, and he will probably give some frustration to some managers over the time. But he's a top guy, and he's doing well.
And obviously, as we say, going into that festive period, it'd be good to kick it off with, like I say, you got a win last week, but again, kick it off with another 3 points.
Yeah, that's the aim, always the aim. Let's see if we can kick it off and go again in this next push over this period to get the 3 points.